the Guardians losing to the Giants. Well, this game features the Giants now traveling up to New York to take on the Mets. Tylor Megill going against Alex Cobb. Pair of big strikeout guys thus far. Cobb, 10 strikeouts so far on the year. And then McGill's got 11 strikeouts and no walks. And plus, we got two of the top hitting teams here going as well, too. Mets, $1.17 favorite. If you like the Giants, it's plus 107. Very low total here at 6.5. Guys, McGill and Cobb are not household names when it comes to big strikeout guys. We remember Cobb from his days, with the Rays, but a little shocked here that this total is this low at 6.5. I don't think we've seen a 6.5 all season long.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I think it might just be an overreaction. I mean, both pitchers, I think, are outstanding, but I think that 6.5 is too low for these guys. I would expect a 6.5 more for like two super elite guys. These guys aren't quite there yet.
Any value here of taking it over? I know we got to check weather here, but again, 6.5, very, very low.
Well, I mean, it's pretty cool in this area. I mean, I know last night it was in the 30s. It's going to be 40, high 40s, low 50s. So it's not nice by any means. It's windy. I know in Queens and in this area. So I mean, we're not too far away. So yeah, I'd expect these aren't great conditions. Maybe a little rain out there. So yeah, I don't know. I think you're right though. It is a little too low. These aren't these aces that we usually see with these kind of totals.
Right. Yeah, TC, you bring up a good point about the weather, and I think it's super important when you play totals to take the weather into account. And one of the things that I've worked over the last couple of years on my site is to have weather factors and adjustments. So if you go to BaseWinner.com, you can get all the weather and kind of how it affects the game. And what I've done is I've put if there's an adjustment over a certain threshold, I'll put it on the overview. And this is kind of a weird weather. There's gusts going up to like 30 miles per hour. It's blowing kind of across the field from first base to third base. So, I don't know. I'm not showing it affecting runs at all, but I think it might affect a little bit the fielding when the ball's up in the air. And sometimes pitchers have a problem pitching into wind like this. I can tell you my model has it priced at 8.2 runs. If you want to play the total, I would say play the over. I'm not going to do that. In fact, I'm going to make a play on the Mets here. My model has it priced at minus 144. You can get minus 116 at BetUS right now. I think that's pretty good value. I'm showing Megill at 34th out of 150 pitchers. I've got his run suppression number at 18%. Cobb I like too, not as much though. I have his run suppression number 10% better than average at a 90. So that puts him 66th out of 150 pitchers in Major League Baseball. One of the things that's interesting about this game is the bullpen. The way it sets up for Megill, I've got the Mets bullpen at 34th in baseball, 34th out of 150, and the Giants bullpen at 115. So a big advantage there. And we also have a hitting advantage too by my numbers. I've got the Mets 14% better than average from a runs created standpoint, whereas I got the Giants at 2% better than average. So you throw all that in the mixer. I've got it at minus 144. I think some of the advanced numbers kind of parrot that as well. And without having to get too far into them, I'm really comfortable with this price. I'm really comfortable with the model's price. I'm comfortable with all the granular stats that are behind it as well. So I'm going to go with the Mets here, and I'll lay the minus 116.
Yeah, I mean, record-wise, we've got two of the best teams in baseball right now. Giants at 7-2, and the Mets coming in at 7-3. I kind of have a little slight lean towards the Mets here as well, too. I don't think the Giants are going to stay that hot. And again, Miguel's not. I'm not a big Cobb fan here. Might be a good value play here with the Mets. Any quick thoughts, Jeff, on the side here?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Cobb was great. I mean, obviously 10 strikeouts against San Diego in game one, terrific. Obviously a little bit off from where he usually is, but, ground ball pitcher, struggles against right-handed lineups. But this is a left-handed centric lineup. He's had always good numbers against lefties. I think it's a pretty good matchup for him from a pitching standpoint. But then again, I look at Megill, and I think it's probably a decent matchup for him. He's a good young pitcher. Probably one of the reasons we see this total so low. Remember, the Mets, the Giants strike out a lot. I mean, this team is, I think, top 6 or 7 in the league in strikeouts per game. They strike out a lot. So I kind of look at Megill. He's at 5 and 6 in his first 2 games in strikeouts per game. I don't play them a ton. But I get the feeling tonight Megill has some success on the mound. I think both these pitchers ultimately will. I don't love the 6.5 total, but if this were 7.5, I might get involved. But I didn't end up getting there. I think we see a lot of outs. 2 good pitching matchups here.
All right. And we'll take a look at this game and keep an eye on it, and maybe look at this thing tomorrow and see what happens with this total. Interesting total there at only 6.5, with not 2 stellar pitchers, but both pitchers off to pretty good starts early on. All right, guys. Next game of the